Well, hello, this is Diane Thomas Beasley with Politics on the Patio. I'm glad you're joining us today. Also in the studio, we have Tyrone Thomas, who is a devout community activist. How are you today?
Well, first of all, thank you, Diane, for that introduction, but I could do more. And I don't deal with stress a whole lot, but there's so much going on in our community that, family, life, so forth. So you have to address that stress area, and I think I'm doing pretty good on the day today. I've had a very full day, with this being the highlight of my day.
Hey, well,
And
good.
I'm looking forward to getting through this day, but tomorrow is not given.
That's right. Well, I know that you have, and we've worked on a lot of things over the years together. Um, and you're trying to make this Columbus a better place for our community. What are you basically working on right now?
Okay, so I'm always trying to make Columbus a better place for black people.
Right.
Okay, I am not afraid to address black issues. I'm not afraid to say I'm black. I'm not afraid to live black. I'm not afraid to be black. And I fear nothing because I'm black. But Columbus has major problems. Okay, first of all, they're killing our youth, and they're killing black folks, black people. That's wrong.
Right.
And then second of all, they're killing citizens of this community. They're cutting off the lifeline to the future. And I'm not just talking about the police, but they're bound and duty to serve and protect. But I'm also talking about black killing blacks. And that I always work on. I never away from that. The topic of my day has been Julius Tate, Jr., the young man that was called to a sting operation and actually executed by the police, and the different stories that we hear. I was at the coroner's office today trying to see where we're at on the autopsy, which plays a vital role in how they move forward.
Right.
I met with the mother and the father earlier today to talk with them to not give them advice, to help them find comfort.
Right.
That's always important. I've never, and I never will give up on the fact that the neighborhood house should be open and running
True.
in that neighborhood, and for our youth and for the community. I mean,
Right.
the neighborhood house has a long history of being the main vein in the heart of that community, and they've taken it out. I heard discussions of Poindexter Village. They call that a village because it represented a community inside of itself that offered so many resources to the people of that community. The most important thing this month is the breakfast. We do the Martin Luther King free breakfast on that holiday, which is January 23rd, which is Monday. The third Monday of every January is Martin Luther King Day. This will be our 24th consecutive breakfast.
Wow, it's been that long?
It's been that long.
Wow.
And I had to pluck out my gray hair so you wouldn't see them.
It's been a minute.
And I was talking to James last year, and James
Moss.
said, James Moss.
Yeah,
James Moss
officer.
is the president of Police Officer of Equal Rights.
Right.
And James travels into the area every year to make sure that the breakfast happens. We're very thankful for First AME Zion Church there at the corner of Brighton and 18th, which is 873 Brighton. That's been our home. For as I know, it will continue to be our home for the breakfast.
Right.
And,
Well, tell me, what time does it start?
Breakfast we start serving food at 8 o'clock.
8
So we
o'clock?
serve food from 8 to 9:59 p.m. and then the program starts at 10.
And what type of program
I
is it?
said p.m. I meant to say
Yeah,
a.m.
AM. What type of
But-
program is it?
Our program is a community program. It starts
Okay.
at 10 and it runs, we try to wrap up at 12 o'clock. We may run a little bit over because when you're doing community thing, it's hard to be exact.
Well, do you have speakers or what is, I mean,
Speakers,
some of our,
singers, people from the community. Our keynote speaker this year will be House Representative Bernadine Kennedy Kent.
oh, great.
And of course, James will speak. We have a couple of gentlemen from the community that's going to present a program dealing with the Columbus Police Department, how we can become more involved in shaping the future of the transition they're getting ready to go through. And I say transition because everybody knows that the chief has chosen to leave office in February, which she would have been forced to leave anyhow in April, but she should have been fired January 1st, 2019. She's not, and that's a disgrace in itself, that politics has been played again with the lives of our people.
Right.
So the mayor has offered to go to a national search. I will
What do you
be
think
very
about that?
vocal on that.
What do you think about a national search instead of, again, pulling them up through the ranks? What do
But
you think?
the problem is the ranks. You can't pull up through the
Okay,
ranks
that's
because when you're infested with hatred and you do things to your own citizens, then that's core. And
okay.
so the core is rotten. It's rotten to the bone. And IAB, they have made it so sick inside that department that it's unreal. And give you an example, Melissa McFadden, very educated black policewoman with all the credentials, but she wouldn't be in that search because she's not in the ranks to be there. But what they did to Melissa in trying to destroy her career tells you that the core in there is bad. Now, when you talk to officers and they tell you what's happened to them, there's a lot of male and female on the street that used to be police officers that we consider very good people,
Right.
but the department didn't consider that. So my watchdog over the police department will always be there. It's like a daily thing to me. Everything I do is pretty much daily, except for the breakfast, which I do that 365 days a year too.
Speaking of the Columbus Police Department, and I know for years we have spoke of this about an oversight committee. What is your thoughts on that?
There should have been an oversight committee back when the consent decree was brought in here, and everybody talks about the consent decree, which was levied on Columbus by the Attorney General's office, and was removed during the Clinton era, after Mayor Coleman, Janet Jackson, and a couple other people went to then Attorney General and got it dismissed based on certain things being done. We're just now getting the cameras in all the cruisers. That should have happened in the 90s, not in the 2018. We talked about officers doing community policing, and I think in one of your prior shows they talked about the arrest of Joel King doing a oversight of what was going on in 2006 with 2006 with Edward Hayes. And Joel was there because he was part of what was called a CIT, the Community Interaction Team, which was formed between ministers and community people and the police department to foster a better community policing. That didn't happen.
Right, I remember that.
And the arrest of Joel King at that time spoke very obvious of the disrespect for black men by the CPD. Joe came out of it okay, but the CIT didn't come out of it. And that still operates today inside the department, but it doesn't operate inside the community. So occasionally you'll see a cruiser with CIT and a number after it. It's taken an altogether negative approach. And if the community demands would have been met at that time, we'd been much further ahead. We wouldn't have the high number of stops. We wouldn't have the high number of citizens being killed. And we wouldn't probably have a lot of officers living outside the city driving into the city. Now, the most dangerous part of that is when there's an incident and they respond, some of these officers come from as far as Johnstown, Lancaster, Delaware, and they're hiked when they get here. That's the most dangerous thing you can have in your community.
Yeah, we do have a problem, and I was saying last week, we had tried to work on that, that anyone who works for the city of Columbus must live in the city of Columbus. We're going to take a break right now, and we will be back with you in a few minutes.
I'm thrilled to work for a company that does have values and that lives and works by them every day.
I'm really happy. My store just opened up like 3 weeks ago, and finally I can say I'm a store manager, which was my goal, thanks to DSW because they believed in me. I could easily cry.
I had no retail experience, no managerial experience, but they saw something in me and gave me the opportunity to make a difference in my life.
And also find an organization that was willing to accept me and I can also grow and develop with.
I think one of the most exciting things about being here is seeing people grow, develop, do more, enjoy their careers, elevate their careers.
Always being challenged and always being made to feel that I am valued in my role is what makes DSW favorite for me.
You always have a voice. People always want to know what's your idea, what are you doing to make a difference in your store. There's a lot of collaboration.
Everybody truly lives the values, and all of the behaviors that everyone exhibits supports that, and it's created a fantastic culture at DSW.
Hi DSW Associates, I'm Roger Rollins, I'm the CEO of DSW. I started my career in the restaurant industry. I evolved into public accounting, eventually led to retail, and ended up here at DSW. I've worked in great companies, but never built the kind of bond and relationships that I've built with people I work with at DSW. And I think it's because my values as a person align with the values of our organization.
Their heart and soul is in everything, and that's how I am, and I just identify with that, and it just makes every day wonderful for me.
A lot of companies put words on a wall and they don't mean anything. Here they actually mean what they say, and it makes it a great place to work.
We actually live by the values that we promote, and it's a great place to work.
I've just had an experience on a plane this past week. When I tell someone I work at DSW, I suddenly become a rock star. You know, to see the emotion that our customers have who are really passionate about footwear and about our brand, that's what makes this such a cool place to work.
Well, welcome back. This is Diane Thomas Beasley with Politics on the Patio, and my guest in the studio this evening is Tyrone Thomas, a community activist. How are you again?
I'm wonderful, and I really thank you for having me here today.
Well, I really appreciate it.
And I hope your audience will appreciate that it hasn't happened to you, but
Right.
it could.
Exactly.
And that's the most important thing that I can tell anybody. All of my kids are living.
Right.
And if something would happen to one of my kids, it would be traumatic.
True.
And getting through it would be a challenge. And our community has to make sure that we stop the trauma, stop the oppression, and lift people out of where we're being put. Okay?
Exactly.
And so yes, the Columbus Police Department is killing black citizens, and they're killing them at an alarming rate. And yes, black citizens are killing black citizens. They're killing them at an alarming rate. And they're both saying the same thing. A black life is not important.
Right, and Black lives do matter. As they always said, and I just saw somebody was arguing about it today on Facebook, all lives matter. Yes, all lives matter, but we wouldn't have to talk about Black Lives Matter if it really mattered. If all lives really mattered, then we wouldn't have to discuss Black Lives Matter, because it would matter to everyone. But right now, Black lives do not matter to anyone because they take our life just like that, and it means absolutely nothing. How are we going to even help the parents? Because it's a systemic problem in our community where it's unfortunate that we have young girls and young men having babies as early as 10 years of age. So when you look at this,
That's not nothing new.
I know, but as we look at these statistics, they are not equipped to raise these children. So seriously, what do we do? How do we?
How can we say that, Diane, when if you go back to anywhere in the United States, young girls have always had babies early.
But not like it is
we
now.
populated this country on impregnating young girls
Okay.
under 16.
All right, but think about it. When I grew up here in Columbus, if a girl got pregnant, she went to, I think it was North or something. They had a school just for adults because we did not say it's okay. It is not okay for you to go out unmarried and have a baby. And because you can't take care of it, you're not old enough to take care of it, you're not smart enough to take care of it. So it was a stigma that you put on these young girls to say, I don't want to get pregnant because I want to still be able to go to the football games, the basketball games, the dances. But once that happened, there was that stigma on these young girls. And the other young girls are saying, I'm not getting pregnant. And seriously, I know I went to a private school, so that's different. But in my school, and this is the truth, I only knew one person who got pregnant. Only one person. And she kept it a secret so that, she could graduate. But I'm serious. So see, this is somewhere where in society we accept this. We start accepting things that we should not be accepting because, they got pregnant, but they shouldn't have. So let's not reward them for getting pregnant.
So we made it a shameful act by not being silent about it. We brought it out and we talked about it. We created schools and our elected officials did things to change that or to slow that up. And now we're saying it's an epidemic again.
Yeah, it's an epidemic
So
now.
infant mortality rate is high among
These young
a
black
couple of
girls.
zip codes in
Yes.
Columbus.
43203 and 43205.
And 6
And
falls
maybe
in there
11 too, yeah.
And so we have to go back
Yes.
and do that. See, all change ain't good.
Exactly.
And so we said, and I'm going to go back to this, community policing.
Right.
But we didn't change anything. We just put the words out there. We didn't promote anything to change that. We didn't do the work to change
Right.
that. And so in Columbus, we have to start doing the work. Enough said, enough studies, enough program. If they ain't producing results, then they need to go out of our community and they need to be called out and put out our community. Same thing with our elected officials, from the mayor down to council. our House reps, our senators. If they're not coming back to us with a report card saying that I'm doing this for you, then they need to go. When you
Right.
talk to an elected official and you say, hey, what about this? And they say, well, I have to check that out. Okay, that means you're not representing me.
Exactly.
Because you're not trying to figure out what it's going to take to change in my community. Get over the fact that these people are getting paid healthy sums and salaries with your tax dollars. Okay?
That, what is it we used to tell everybody? You work for us.
Right.
Because you would not have your job if it wasn't for the taxpayers.
But we told them that, but we didn't hold them
We didn't hold
responsible
them
to that.
accountable. We didn't hold them
Okay?
accountable.
And that's what I mean by the silence has to stop.
Yes.
And whether it be CPD or the murders in our neighborhood. So when you look at the overall crime rate, it's not that bad. We're not that, well, black communities or black areas are not, they're not that bad.
Right.
But if the main media wants to make a headline, then they paint it black and they painted us. And what we don't realize is that generates so many tax dollars that never come into our community and fix a darn thing. And I use that word because I can say something else. and so when we talk about fixing our community, we have to talk about real change.
Yeah.
And we have to stop the silence. I love Ministry for the Movement because I think this past week was the 111th consecutive month of running a program on the first Sunday at 3 o'clock at Pastor Lamar's church,
Oh,
996.
Yes. I'm going to make the next one.
Okay. Well, I used
Well,
to
you know
make
what
them
I
all.
told them, wait a minute, what I told them last week when I went the first time? They are running. I mean, these people are walking fast with the drum. I was like, wait a minute, I'm too old for this. I went up an alley, came back, and was standing there waiting on them when they got there. I was like, okay. And then we went inside. But I think it is so great because he brings in the whole community,
It's
because
real
when they're
community
doing the
food.
drums, people come to their doors, and they'll come out, I think that was such a great opportunity for all of us to become involved in. And I really do. And if not just because you're on the south side or, southeast side, I think everybody from Linden, everywhere, west side, east side, I think everybody needs to start becoming involved in that and become involved in your community.
So we do, this will be our 24th breakfast.
Wow.
We call it a community breakfast.
Well, I'll be there.
We push to get the homeless there so they can eat. And a lot of, I love it when they come up to me and say, Mr. Thomas, it's the first hot meal I had since Christmas. Okay? And it's in January. So they're waiting till the next hot dinner, but we're serving a hot breakfast. And we did it for 24 years. The importance there is consistency. That's why I talk about Men for the Movement and Ministry for the Movement and Captain Dennis with his 1,000 Fearless. Some of the churches do breakfasts and dinners, and they're in their 33rd and 34th year. Those are programs in our community to do what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
So now we have to call out the programs in our community that don't do what they're
Exactly.
supposed to do. I'm going to touch
Well-
on one more thing and I'll stop.
Well, no, let me just say this. I want to say this, that our viewers, I need for you all to come out on the 21st to, what is it, the Zion
First AME Zion
Church at 18th and
873.
Bryden Road, 873. The breakfast begins at 8, and then the program starts at 10.
Yep.
And I really do want you to come out because it's not a charge like the one that's downtown. This is a free event. And I would like to see everyone come out and enjoy your community. All right, Tyro.
Well, and I always say we feed you good hot food, grits, eggs, biscuits, but in that 10 to 12 hour, we feed your mind.
Yeah.
We tell you how to fix things in your neighborhood. And what I'm
Good.
going to say, in my neighborhood, in every neighborhood in Columbus, because I'm in all of them, we have to get resolved. We have to stop talking, stop being
Exactly.
silent about what's going on in our community, and get resolved.
Exactly.
And if you think that your tax dollars don't matter, they won't. But these programs and other programs in our community cater to your tax dollars. So if you're not getting what you want downtown, and you're not getting those tax dollars in your community, then you're not holding people responsible. And we have to change that.
Well, yeah, because you look at city council and you look at the people from Clintonville that's always there. You see the people from German Village, Victorian Village, and they're down there testifying almost every week when you watch city council.
Well, Clintonville gets a $150,000 grant to change the way the
Well, I remember when they got
off-ramp.
one to do the sidewalks.
Yeah, the off-ramp looks on 71. They get a grant for a team to walk their community and do safety patrol.
But they're there every week.
But
And that's what we don't do. We're not there, and we don't demand that we want sidewalks. We want our streets. We want lights. You know, we have all these problems especially on the Near East Side in Linden and the West Side. I don't even want to start on the West Side. There are so many problems, but the only people that's getting, what do they used to say? The ones with the squeakiest wheel gets the oil.
There you go.
And so that's our problem. We have got to start, as you said, stop being silent. We've got to start speaking up. And somehow we've got to get to our community and our neighbors and say, hey, wake up. Because if you want better lighting, you want better streets, and God only knows we need better schools, we have got to start speaking up.
So often people doing the kind of work that I do and you do are called activists.
Yes.
And so if you look up that definition, I'm not going to give it to you. I want you can Google it if you want to, but I want you to
You know
look
I
up
shall.
that definition. An activist starts something, and they may not finish it because they're starting it so somebody else can come in and help them finish it. But don't dismiss or disregard your activists. Those are the people that want you to start something with them.
Exactly.
And so,
because you, me, and everybody else that's doing this, it like you said, it takes a village. We need everybody's help. You know, it just can't be me, you, John, the ones of us that's always out here. We need our entire community on our side and to help us.
see, in the olden days, we had places we can go, recreation centers and community housing, PALS, Police Athletic League.
Yes.
I mean, they did wonderful things, and they were very active in helping young men go back out into the community. We don't have that anymore. And so how do you describe community policing? Community policing is when I pick up the phone and call, I have no fear.
That's true. Well, we've come to the end of our program. And I really do appreciate you, Tyrone, for making it, because I know you had other things to do, and I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate our viewers, and of course, when this hits Facebook and everywhere else, if you have any questions, type them up and send them to us. And, if you've got something that you want us to discuss, please let us know. This is Politics on the Patio.